in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today our topic is a bit controversial, bit hot, but a very, very current topic, and that is too much democracy. Evolution of democracy is not possible if we are not prepared to hear the other side, said Mahatma Gandhi. Democracy doesn't work if we constantly demonize each other. For progress to happen, we have to listen to each other, see ourselves in each other, fight for our principles, but also fight to find common ground, no matter how elusive that may seem, said Barack Obama. Democracy is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. Democracy is a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their governing legislation. A democracy means rule by the people. Abraham Lincoln defined democratic government as of the people, by the people, for the people. The name is used for different forms of government where the people can take part in the decisions that affect the way their community is run. In modern times, there are different ways this can be done. The people meet to decide about new laws and changes to existing ones. This is usually called direct democracy. The people elect their leaders. These leaders take this decision about laws. This is commonly called representative democracy. The process of choosing is called election. The elections are either held periodically or when an office holder dies. A democratic government is a better government because it is a more accountable form of government. Democracy improves the quality of decision making. Democracy provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts. Democracy allows people to correct their own mistakes. In a democracy, people rule themselves as leaders are elected by them. India is a parliamentary, secular, democratic republic in which the President of India is the head of state and the Prime Minister of India is the head of government. The Indian Constitution provides for an independent judiciary which is headed by the Supreme Court. Democracy is both an idea and an ideal. It is also an initiation and an institution. It thrives and survives on the principle of maximum participation. An ancient Greek political and philosophical architecture of governance, the term surfaced around 507 BC in Athens. Etymology is a combination of demos, that is common people, and kairetas, that is power. Over the centuries, the instrument of power passed from the common to the privileged, thereby perverting the spirit of democracy. The ballot in the hands of people has become a bullet in the hands of the executive, which imposes its subjective authority and restricts the contours of inclusive discourse. The width, breadth, and the height of the democratic edifice are now decided by a cunning cabal which acquires powers by selection, not an election. Their postures and utterance have portrayed democracy as a demon. It is now diminishing the power of those elected by the people to work for their welfare. The erudite and highly visible faces of the new establishments are scripting its new narrative. India slipped 10 places to 51st position in the recent Democracy Index global ranking in last year, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit, which cited erosion of civil liberties in the country as the primary cause for the downtrend. India slipped from the 27th rank in 2014 to 51 in the Democracy Index. A democratic government is not a government for maintaining only law and order and collecting revenue. That can be done by police and revenue officials. This does not require elected representatives. A democratic government is supposed to take initiative to undertake enterprises which will provide employment with a decent standard of living, shelter, education, and health services to all. Recently, Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO of the Niti Aayog, defined democracy's quantitative limit. Speaking at a media conclave, he announced, I quote, though reforms are very difficult in the Indian context, we are too much of a democracy, unquote. Since Mr. Kant is considered the most powerful official voice on every subject under the political sun, his opinion is being interpreted as a reflection of the political leadership's current mood. Although his comments were denounced by the law minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and he said that we believe in democracy. Mr. Kant later argued that he was misunderstood and misconstrued, while all he wanted to say was that you cannot compare the speed of India's reform with China's because we are too much of a democracy. Other important questions emerges from this. Is democracy good for economic growth or bad? How much democracy is good and when does it become too much? Is there such a thing as limited democracy? And to discuss the today's topic, that is too much democracy, we have an elite legal luminary with us. Why only the legal luminary? Why only the advocates? Because the subject is too hot. We approached many of the prominent personalities to talk, but they declined very, very politically. And this shows that how much democracy is there in our country. So now coming to the topic, I would like to introduce my first guest, and he is Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma is the chairman of Gyandeep Shiksha Bharati Senior Secondary School, Mathura. He is a leading civil lawyer of Western UP. He is also appearing in Supreme Court and High Courts. He is dealing exclusively in civil matters. He is rendering social services and connected with many institutions. He is founder secretary of Civil Lawyers Forum and president thereafter. He always participates in social activities. Welcome, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma on our show. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, you just heard the report which I mentioned, which clearly mentioned that on the scale of democracy in the world, our rank has slipped 10 this time, and altogether it from 27 to 51 in the last 6 years during the present regime. Plus, there were statements from the CEO of Niti Aayog. Now, we would like to know whether this is something planned or not. What is the legal stature of this too much democracy? Is it in the Constitution of India? Is this such types of terms has been used or not? What is the legal impact or legal view on this particular subject? And what do you think? What is the meaning of too much democracy? Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, please.
Yeah, Mr. Goyal, first I would like to congratulate you that you are daring to select such a hot topic when in today's atmosphere public is afraid, and this denotes our decrease of standard just you have told in the democratic pattern. As you have said, this term was used by the CEO of the Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog is said to be the think tank of the government. And such an statement of the CEO of the Niti Aayog definitely reflects the mood of the government itself. For the public say, they may say anything, as you have said that one of the ministers has said that we believe in democracy. They are bound to say like that because of they cannot say otherwise. But practically they are doing it otherwise. if we analyze the functions of the present government, then there are so many things which are decreasing the standards of democracy. Since a long time, the duration of the sessions of the parliament is being decreasing. Then the question hour during the parliament session is being suspended. And then further then, the bills are being passed in the parliament without any discussion. These all, there are such other things also, but these all are the major things which shows that actually the democracy is decreasing in our country. What to say of too much? It is going less. But I will like to say that democracy cannot be quantified. It can never be quantified. There cannot be any quantity of the democracy. There may be a quality of the democracy. If it cannot be too much or too less. If someone is trying to quantify the democracy, meaning thereby, he is simply decreasing the quality of democracy and which leads to the dictatorship. If we are decreasing the quality of democracy, definitely it is leading us towards the dictatorship. In democracy, one of the necessary ingredients is freedom of speech. But freedom of speech is also decreasing in our country. Just you have said that so many big personalities are not ready to come and address on this topic. Why this position is there? Only because of there is freedom of speech has become a little less than whatever we are enjoying previously. Anyway, the other aspects of the government, they also show that we are leading towards the democracy. And one of the important aspect is we're leading towards the dictatorship, that there is a complete centralization of power in the government. This also leads towards the dictatorship. Long back in 1973, at the time when Keswaran Bharti's case was being argued in the Honorable Supreme Court, Nani Palkiwala has said that dictatorship of majority is equally bad like a dictatorship of one person. And he wanted from the constitution bench, 13 judge bench, that there should be some constitutional guarantee for the nation to check the nation from the dictatorship of the majority. This was his argument. But at that time, this argument was said to be imaginary only and said that it is not possible in our country. It was in 73. But just after 2 years, our country has to face a dictatorship. And this entire argument proved to be completely true just after 2 years. Now in second phase, at that time, 1975, the speed of dictatorship was imposing dictatorship was very high. But nowadays, again we are feeling that imposing of dictatorship, but at that time, the speed of imposing dictatorship is little slow. So public reaction is also very slow, and it will take a long time to understand the public at large that actually we are heading towards the dictatorship. So whatever that CEO of Niti Aayog has said, he has said and he has reflected the mood of the government. There are other things also that, like Mrs. Gandhi's tenure, present government is also trying to put under its pressure the judiciary. That is also a tactic being used. That also leads us towards the dictatorship. So all these circumstances are there before us, and they are telling us that actually we are heading towards a dictatorship. And this proverb of too much of democracy is because of present government is not liking the present democracy, and this democratic system is not suited to them. and they are trying to change it slowly, slowly, and slowly. So this is the outcome why such an statements are there from the think tank of the government itself. Now coming to the legal aspect of the case, as everyone knows, in Keshav Bharti's case, it has finally held by the Honorable Supreme Court that the basic structure of our constitution cannot be changed even by the parliament or by any amendment in the constitution itself. This democracy is also a very important basic structure of our constitution. So even if some government wants it to change it, they cannot do it legally. If someone dare to do so, the matter may be challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court and it may be struck down. Previously also, when Mrs. Gandhi passed the 25th of the Constitution Amendment, that no Constitution amendment should be challenged in the Supreme Court, that amendment was struck down by the Honorable Supreme Court at the instance of again by the Nani Palkiwala, that this is also hitting the basic structure of our Constitution. So if we look to the legal aspect of the case, it is definitely a basic structure and it cannot be changed. But practical aspect is that we are facing a dictatorship of majority. The system is democracy, but it is heading towards a dictatorship. No one knows up to what time we have to face all these things. And because of the speed of the imposing of the dictatorship is slow, so definitely it will take some time to understand the public at large that towards in what side we are actually going nowadays.
Okay, thank you, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, for giving your very strong views. And according to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, in Constitution there is no provision of the limitation of the democracy. Democracy, whether it is more or less, there is nothing in such type of thing provided in the Constitution that you can quantify the democracy. Democracy has to be a democratic country where whatsoever is laid down in the Constitution, that has to follow. But if according to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, when the think tank, that is Niti Aayog, the CEO, if he is uttering something, it is definitely the mood of the ruling party. And he said, although the minister has not given any support of this statement, but he said that minister has no other option just to deny and just to keep distance from this statement. But what he says is what is happening and what has happened in past. And he has given the example of the Keshavanand Bharti's case of 1973, where our Nani Palkiwala, the leading advocate at that time, argued in front of the constitutional bench of 13 judges that a majority dictatorship is also not allowed, is also a dictatorship. Majority in democracy can also be termed as a dictatorship. Now, for this, if this things is happening according to him now, what that I am sure that in the next round, Advocate Sharma will explain. But what he said that even Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she wanted to amend and she has passed a constitutional amendment of 25, according to Advocate Sharma, where the provision was that no amendments, constitutional amendments, can be challenged in the court. But that was struck down. And within 2 years, she has placed the entire country under emergency. And according to Ramesh Kumar Sharma, that was a dictatorship. But what he said at that time, it was a very quick decision and fast imposition of emergency or dictatorship. But today, according to Advocate Sharma, today the situation is that it is a slow and steady process to converting democracy in dictatorship. That's why the public at large is not understanding what is happening, says Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Thank you very much, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, for giving your such a strong views about the too much democracy. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Advocate Sunil Bhargav. Advocate Sunil Bhargav is mainly practices in criminal cases of murders, etc. at Mathura, Faridabad, Palwal, and Bharatpur. He was the secretary and president of the Bar Association of Mathura. He was the zone and region chairperson of Lions Club International of Districts 321C. He is a Melvin Jones Fellow of Lions International. He captained Lucknow University and were runners-up in All India Inter-University Tennis Tournament at Tirupati in lawn tennis. He represented UP in Veterans Cricket Team and became Secretary of UP Veterans Association. He also represented UP in All India Masters Badminton. Welcome, Advocate Sunil Bhargav, on our show. Advocate Bhargav, you have heard what Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma has mentioned in his opening remark. And he is very clear about his views. According to him, the present scenario is inching towards the dictatorship because he feels that the majority dictatorship is also as bad as a one-man dictatorship, says Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Now, we would like to know from you your views about too much democracy. Advocate Sunil Bhargav, please.
Greetings to all of you who are listening, plus Mr. Goyal, who invited me today. What is democracy is what we have to understand first. We have heard Mr. Goyal also regarding democracy. We heard the other speakers also. We believe it has been derived from a Greek word that is demos and kratos. That basically means people, that is people and their power. India is a place where we have 130 crore people with us. And democracy is meant for all of them. It is not meant for a segment. It is not meant for basic people. It is for all. Now, when we choose people, we choose the majority, we choose by the government we elect, and we are the ones who are electing the government. Now, after 130 crore people have chosen somebody, he has their own ways of working. What we see for last so many years, we want developments, India want developments. We want that what was happening, that there were so many things which was against the democracy. Like people were taking advantage as there was no identification of our voters. Once that identification was concluded, then the advantage was that benefit could be extended to each and every person. Now, the basic thing is, we have Abraham Lincoln's view, as you stated earlier, government is of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, if government wants some developments, there is a basic view that we have to go to the parliament or other legislature, wherever it is, put up a law, put up the amendments and the reforms they want, and then that reform is to be put forward to the public. When it comes to the parliament, why these questions which come later? That is the first, because I'm basically a politicism man. I'm not a politician to any side. I'm a lawyer and we can talk for both sides. When it comes to the parliament, why opposition doesn't come immediately? If something is wrong somewhere, we have people of all kind of varieties, people who are lawyers, who are working as businessmen, who are working as farmers, who are working everywhere, are there as an MP or as an MLA. Once they are there and some reform is going and coming forward to them, why can't that opposition come for a copy? Let it be discussed there. Then let us see what a person says. Because we have been seeing in democracy that initially one party wants to bring the same fact. Probably they could not get that reform done in their times. But when other parties doing it, the opposition comes in. Now this is, if it is to be reformed, if reform is to be there, then the first place to discuss is where it is being put up. But we don't say anything there. Wait for public support, wait for anybody who's in power. I don't mean any party who's in power. When they put that law forward, that reform forward, then the opposition comes in. Now this indicates whatever, maybe it is good for you, maybe it is not good for you. But people are waiting for the right opportunity to avail or put oppositions and make public against that reform. Now, what has come forward before us is, like you stated earlier, it is matter of democracy. We have to look for the majority, because majority will decide who people are coming in front, who are our basic legislatures, who are our basic MPs, what is coming to the parliament is there. If they want to put something, why only one person? Because this is not basic. When it comes to a party, we cannot say dictatorship. Dictatorship is if one person claims something and their own party members or others, if they're opposing to it and something goes wrong to them, something wrong is done to them, then it can be termed as dictatorship. But if it is democratically coming to the front, we have other options. We can challenge it at the apex court. We can challenge again, bring it to the parliament again, if the opposition is there. But what we say is, at times, opposition does not work where they should work. It is only later on that protests and all kind of varieties are being done. So if this is so, then the problem of by the people and for the people and of the people will go away, because at times even good reforms which are coming up are being opposed. Maybe some portion is not worth it. Maybe some portions are wrong. But if they are wrong, why not they be removed? And we have options to remove those portions. I clearly stated, I know it is what Mr. Sharma stated. I'm of course supporting him, but non-politically. That is the difference. If we have a fact, if we know something is wrong, the think tank of the government of India, which is establishing, as we state, the Niti Aayog CEO had made a statement. Initially, the development was there. We had, before the Niti Aayog came, we had other, thing which was coming up, and they were the head of it, and they started off like this. Now, let us come to the fact that when Niti Aayog was created, the Prime Minister Modi had stated that it is Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas. Now, we want him to do it. But if something is wrong, and we think that it is not affecting, it is not Sabka Saath, it is not Sabka Vikas, then we can put up the opposition also. And we have ways to do it, and we are doing it. But if it comes to this, that in every democratic setup, we claim that it is the correct thing initially. And then when it comes to the force, when it is already signed, and then we start protesting in a way where we are losing our right also, then of course it comes that we have to move to the right position, to the right law, to the right things, and we should make sure that whatever is coming up as reforms, which is creating some doubt regarding the democracy. We are a democratic society. We have right of speech, we have right to protest, we have right to everything. But then when we have that right, it is other persons also, if we are infringing somebody's right, he also has a right to come forward and claim. If he has the right to come forward and claim, then that is part of democracy. But if a person is stopped from creating, stopped from making that it is against our views, it is against the interest of the society, then definitely it is against them. As Mr. Amitabh Kant had stated, tough reforms are very difficult in Indian context. We are too much of a democracy. The government has demonstrated political will to carry out reforms. And then he stated that it didn't mean to do it like this. Of course, it was a tough state, no doubt. But then I think what they are bringing forward, it means that they are convinced that what is correct is for the society, for the general public. If they think it is correct, let public also decide. It is not only one who can decide. Let it come to the public. And if public comes to the public, I mean, is of course the democratic right. And if they have it, then they have a right to protest and they have the right to get things removed. Like we have two things which are coming up right now. If it is Sabka Saath, and then from some places the protest is coming and some places it is. Now, what I meant is that we have democratic ways of putting it up. So if we are putting it up in democracy, then nobody has the right to state or make a statement that this is too much of a democracy. We have our rights, and if we are in our rights, then we have the right. This is
Thank you very much, Advocate Sunil Bhargav. And Advocate Sunil Bhargav, said very clearly that once any party has been elected with a majority, they have a right to do the amendments or to make good what is not correct in the constitution or in the law, not the constitution, the law. And he says what is happening today is that because the majority is with one party, they are with the due course of law, they are amending or bringing the reforms. And he says the duty of the opposition as per the democracy is to oppose it in the parliament, not on the roads. Because once the bill has been put up, they are supposed to raise their voices, they are supposed to put the dissent, they are supposed to go give a vote against that. But once it is passed, once it become law, then it has to be followed by everyone as in a democracy thing. Otherwise, what will happen that if a majority has been given to a party, how the government will function? And he has also mentioned about the CEO's statement. He says he wanted to mention because of he said that we are planning to do so many reforms, but we cannot do it because of the opposition which is seen. And basically Advocate Bhargav, what he means is that like this protests are taking place, but Advocate Bhargav also mentioned that the protest is a legal right of anybody in democracy. If opposition fails, they could not stop a particular law. If any public person is not happy, he is having a right to protest. But in a democracy, the right to change the law, to come out with reforms, are with the government which has been duly elected by the people of country. And he says that yes, the statement which was given by the CEO of Niti Aayog is not correct, because it should not be there that too much democracy, but we must adhere to the principle of the democracy which says the majority is to rule. Thank you very much, Advocate Sunil Bhargav, for giving your opinions about too much democracy. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma. Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma is the advocate of Supreme Court of India since 1992. He is specialized in civil and corporate cases. He filed important PIL, that is public interest litigations, in case of selling prohibited arms and weapons. He was instrumental in the release of Gopal Das and Hamid Ansari from Pakistan jail. He was also pursuing a Sarbjeet case, who was incarcerated in Pakistan jail. Presently, he is pursuing Captain Saurav Kalia's case in Supreme Court. He also handled air hostess overweight cases. So he is a advocate who has handled so many reported cases which are well publicized in the media. Welcome, Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma on our show. Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, you have heard what Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma as well as Advocate Sunil Bhargav has mentioned. And according to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, the dictatorship by one man or a majority dictatorship is as bad as a one-man dictatorship. And he based his opinion on the argument made by eminent advocate or the legal lumre Nani Palikiwala ji in front of the Supreme Court Constitutional Bench in 1973 in Keshwanand Bharti case. In that, he has argued that. What Advocate Sunil Bhargav says, that once in the democracy, a elected government has been elected through the democratic process, and if they are in majority, then they have a right to do whatsoever they want to do legally to reform, change the amend law, etc. Opposition role is to oppose it in the parliament. If they are not opposing, if they are not dissenting, and afterwards they are protesting or coming on the street, is not a proper democracy, according to Advocate Bhargav. But he has also mentioned the statement of the CEO Niti Aayog is too far. It should not be mentioned like this. But he says that in a proper democracy, everyone has a right to protest if they are having any grievances, if they feel that their rights have been infringed by the government. But he is not agreeing completely with Advocate Sharma that there can be a majority dictatorship. That is the difference among these two advocates. Now, we would like to know from you your views about the too much democracy. Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, please.
Good morning, everybody. I've just heard everybody, the two panelists on the forum. I'd like to be very clear. There is no word as called too much democracy. In the Constitution, nothing is defined as too much democracy. It is a view of an individual, which, as Mr. Ramesh Sharma rightly portrays, that is the view of the government. Absolutely right. I agree here. It is view of the government which is coming through the CEO of the Niti Aayog. Please understand, the belief in the statement of the CEO of Niti Aayog, which says too much democracy. We cannot have tough reforms because India has too much democracy. It comes on the belief that there is a lack of understanding as well as the inability to see the root cause of failure to have everyone fall in the line of one's vision. That's very important. No, that is totally wrong. If you are in a democratic country, you have a right to portray your political views, portray your policies, implement them, but at the same time you have to see, is it good for the masses? Is it good for the public? If it's not good, then you have to look and take the recourse of the democratic process and listen to the people at large. See the history. History will show you, since days of independence, Mahatma Gandhi, we got independence from the Britishers because of too much of democracy, if I put it that way. Nelson Mandela fought in prison jail and ended apartheid. Is it too much democracy? No. Or if you put it that way, it is too much democracy. Yes, it is too much democracy. Everybody has a right. You have giving power to one particular group or a party in a current scenario when the opposition is very weak. We do not have any opposition. So absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is what is going on here. You please see the history. Japan rose after the World War and became a powerful country. Today it's one of the leading powerful country because of the democratic process. All leaders in this country today, including the current Prime Minister, or you may say Mayawati, Jayalalitha, or any other leader, any other political person who's today holding a political post, is because of too much democracy. Congress at the time when they were powerful and the complete majority in the parliament was controlled by the Congress, they suffered, and they suffered because of scams, and ultimately because of too much democracy a new power came in. So democratic process is very important, and you cannot say too much democracy will be fatal, will be resulting into tough reforms which we want to take for the development of the country cannot go hand to hand. I think that is a wrong statement. Today's scenario, if we see this section of people, students are unhappy, workers are ruthless, jobless youth are in distress, recession stares at the face. It is time for consensus. It is time to the government to listen to the masses and not portray one's political view. I'm not saying, see, I'm also a political man, whether it is Congress, whether in any government, whether it is the current government or any government, they have to look to the masses. They cannot thrust their political views on the masses. The statement shows this. Please understand, democracy is what defines identity, has built a character, potential to make us global. So if you use the expression of too much democracy. Can the process of being a global power, the development of this country take place? No. It is impossible. See, blaming the democratic system for failure to achieve speedy growth is bust indigenous and the worst duplications. It is not the quantum of democracy, but the quality of democracy which is the problem. Democracy only works when the elected officials are moral. If the elected officials are not moral and they are putting a one particular view, then where is the question of being a democratic country? Then rather make it a dictator, amend the constitution. And if the constitution provides for a democratic right, please see the current status, how the farmer bills was passed in the parliament. There is no opposition. That is why people are in streets. Can we call it can we call it too much democracy? No. So therefore, democracy is for the greater good. Democracy is fundamentally about 3 Ds: discussion, debate, and dissent, which ends up in a democratic basis by 3 Cs: compromise, consensus, and cooperation. If this is not there, as Mr. Ramesh Sharma said, then we are leading to a dictatorship. Constitution provides for the basic structure is right, freedom of speech and expression. Why not? We have a right and we are living in a democratic country. Can we impose everything if you are having a particular... I have said so in history speaks about everything. We are comparing ourselves with China. Therefore, because they are saying the statement came by the CEO of Niti Aayog by saying that we are comparing it with China because there are tough reforms are taking place. Sadly mistaken, Japan, Taiwan, they are much more. They are democratic country and their GDP is higher than China. That's not the argument. The concept of too much, where I do not know where the concept of too much democracy comes. We have to strive in a democratic country. We have to listen to the opposition. One panel advocate spoke about discussion in the parliament. Please understand, when the parliament is controlled by majority of the ruling party, wherein there is no opposition, is this too much democracy? It is responsible. It is good that there is too much of democracy, then at least things fall in place. Current scenario in the farmers' agitation, now the government is ready to talk to the farmers. I am not saying what is right, what is wrong. If they are saying we will amend 5 of these clauses, it means there was something wrong in the clauses when it was passed in the parliament. Is it too much democracy? I don't think it's too much democracy. And there is, what is this concept of too much democracy? Our constitution does not provide for too much of democracy. Then it is emergency. Indira Gandhi time, what happened? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It became an emergency. She imposed emergency. What happened? People taught her a lesson. Indira Gandhi lost elections. It is because of democracy. I will say it is because of too much democracy that we are striving and we will lead to a global power and become powerful and strive like other countries like Japan, Taiwan, who are democratic and they are the top. They have the GDP higher than anybody in the world today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma. And Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma says that there is no such word too much democracy in constitution. And he says that this remark of the CEO of Niti Aayog, because Niti Aayog is a body which is a think tank which represents the mood of the government. And he says it's very unfortunate because whatsoever reforms you want to take, it has to be taken under the purview of the democracy. Just to say that because the people are not understanding our views or our political views or otherwise, that because of the too much democracy. And he has given the examples of Japan, Taiwan. He says they are also democratic countries. When they can also develop like anything, then why we always compare with China? Okay, China doesn't have democracy, but Taiwan is having, as per Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma. And he says that when there is absolute power, it corrupts absolutely. Same what happened during the Indira Gandhi's time when she imposed emergency. And ultimately, because of the democracy, she was removed and the other party has come. So according to him, it has to be a democratic process, and democracy is having no quantities, whether it is less or more. There has to be the democratic procedures. If anyone is having grievances, they have a right to protest, which he has quoted about the farmers' protest. He says if the government is ready to amend 5-7 clauses, it means the bill which was passed by both the parliaments were not up to the mark, and they should have done it at that time only. He says that he is not agreeing with Advocate Sunil Bhargav's comment that once the majority is there, they have a right. He says, no, it's not the correct thing. Majority doesn't mean that you will be doing something which is not in the benefit of the public at large. Thank you very much, Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist. He is Advocate Deepak Dhingra. Advocate Deepak Dhingra is the proprietor of Law Linkers and Company, New Delhi. He is practicing in Supreme Court and appeared in almost all the high courts in India. He has vast experience in handling arbitration matters, including international arbitrations, and have been involved in many leading arbitration matters within the country and abroad. He also appears in tribunals and commissions. Welcome, Advocate Deepak Dhingra. I know that you are joining from Dubai today, and that's why you have joined a bit late. So I will just tell you what happened before you joined. And according to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, one-man dictatorship or majority dictatorship is same. He says that majority doesn't mean that you will dictate your terms. It has to be a democratic process. Whatsoever you want to do, it is through that democratic process. But what Advocate Sunil Bhargav says, he says once a government is elected by the people, and if they are in majority, they have a right to come out with the reforms, and the opposition role is only to oppose in the parliament or the assemblies, not on the streets, and they should come out and they must allow the government who has been elected to implement the amendments or the reforms for the benefit of the country. But what Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma says, he says that it has to be democracy. You cannot exceed, you cannot say that it is too much democracy. And he has given examples how India got the independence because Mahatma Gandhi, if we got the independence, because it's democratically, it is not through the dictatorship. And he says that we must adhere, otherwise one must amend the constitution, go for a dictatorship. Otherwise, to say too much democracy is unconstitutional, because there is no word called too much democracy in the constitution, as Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma says. Now, we would like to know from you about too much democracy. Advocate Deepak Dhingra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goyal. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you all the participants. I'm extremely sorry I was not here. My time, I'm slightly behind you, and I couldn't join earlier. But anyway, am I audible, Mr. Goyal? And
yeah. Can you just pull the curtain behind you?
No, curtain I can. It will
no. Pull it. Close it. Yes. Yes. So we can see your face.
You see, it's very bright light outside.
That's why we want. Now it is fine.
But then,
yes, please go ahead.
You see, Mr. Goyal, I want to ask you one thing. You see, the minute you coined this word too much of democracy, can you please tell me in which other country, let's say we have got different form of governments all over the world. We have got presidential form of governments. We have got governments which are kingdoms, which are run by kingships. We have got religious sects which are heading certain governments. Then we have got dictatorship by military heads and military governments and all that. Now, in these 5 or 6 systems, we have got something called democracy. Now, tell me, if you are, or this program is there in a country where there's a presidential form of government, there's a kingship, there is a military dictatorship, or this dictatorship, can you please tell me, can you host the program saying too much of presidential form of government, too much of dictatorship, too much of religious heads, too much of military heads? I'm sorry, the program will be shut. It will be shut. Firstly, you will not dare to do it. And if you dare to do it, it will not be aired. And if you do it and it is aired, you face consequences immediately after the program is over. And the consequences are very, very severe. So this is a word, too much of democracy can only be used in a democratic form of government. I think I've answered most of it. That democracy gives you a liberty, gives you liberty to speak, to express, and consequently, there are certain obligations. You have to be a responsible citizen, because democracy, when gives you certain rights and certain powers, also invites you to be responsible. Now, why I'm saying it, again, I compare. Now, let me tell you, I took this program, I took the head of the, had too much of democracy as a political. I'm not at all commenting on Indian politics, Indian democracy, or democracy all over the world, because your title itself does not say too much of Indian democracy. It says too much of democracy. We have got democracy almost in 50 countries in the world. Why to have Congress and BJP or blah, blah, blah? I'm not here at all for commenting. And if my comments anyway linked to any political issue or political party, I'm extremely sorry, that stands withdrawn unconditionally. Now, having said all these things, I want to ask myself, you see, too much of democracy, too much of anything is bad. You take salt, it's too much of salt, too much of sugar, or too much of anything. You see, where the certain democratic rights come to be abused by a process, let's say, by the representatives who get elected through the democratic process. After all, we elect in a country when democracy comes, whether it's for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, or maybe in few countries, 7 years, you see, you elect representatives. Now, you mean to say you have elected a representative for 7 years or 5 years, he cannot go wrong? He undoubtedly can go wrong. Why can't he go wrong? You mean to say you have elected him because he belongs to a particular political affiliation. He will do what you think is right? No, he may falter. He may falter. So for that reason, he has to be responsible. He has to act for the people because he has been elected by the people. Now, supposedly, he starts to behave in a different manner altogether. Let's say his views become too much of political based. He starts to follow a particular ideology, which basically you didn't follow. You never elected him because of a particular ideology. Now, what happens? So there, a point comes, too much of democracy, that he is not basically being responsible. He is not acting responsibly because he is not taking care of certain issues which he should have. So there the word comes too much. I agree with the other panelist whom I listened to, Mr. Sharma, that there's nothing called too much. I agree. But the too much word comes only when you don't act responsibly. You don't act in the manner you should act. There a too much comes. I'm too very good, I'm too very bad. Let's take it this way. So for that reason, I personally think that too much of democracy undoubtedly is a word which is slightly sensitive in issue, but then it exists where the representative of the people in a democratic setup either don't use their powers in favor of people, or misuse them, or do not use them at all. They have got their own political affiliations. They have got their own, what you call, they are being guided by the head of that institution whom they are representing, or where the government is there. So there the thing comes that, listen, let's say in a democratic process, we have got a parliament which has got, let's say, 500 members. Out of 500, let's say a political party has got 300 members or 250 members, which are the majority. Now, all of a sudden, these 250 members start to sing the same song because they belong to a particular party. They belong to a particular ideology. Now, the minute the 250 people start to sing the same song without caring as to what is right, there has to be a dissent. You mean to say all these 250 or 300 people who are majority in a parliament? I'm just giving numbers. It may be 400, it may be 200, depending upon the country, depending upon the nature of the parliament. So all these 200 people have got the same thinking of certain on a particular issue. How is it possible? They are the representative falter in a democratic process because they have got a right to dissent, but they don't because there is a whip. Now, where the whip is used, you lose democracy. Because then the party says, no, you are our member, you have been elected because we supported you, so you have to follow our ideology and not what people are thinking. There the problem comes is where the dissent is not there. Because you belong to a particular ideology, you just blindly follow it, caring or fearing a whip. There comes the concept of too much of democracy. I'm sorry, I am not in the context of any particular country, including ours, India. So only there comes the concept of too much democracy. Otherwise, you see, you cannot have a system. Our constitution is very strong, please mind you. And forget about this of switching over from the parliament to dictatorship. It doesn't happen like this, sir. And especially in a country like one with 1.3 billion people, you cannot switch over. And there cannot be a coup. There cannot be a change of power. We are not a small country with few million people where one fine morning a dictator comes down, he lands here and says, all right, military taken over all over. It's a country which is spreading almost to 6,000 kilometers, length and breadth, which has got 1.3 billion people, which has got democratic setups even at panchayat level, even at grassroots village level. How can you have somebody coming and saying we switch over, we take over the country? It is not possible. Even in the dreams, it's not possible. So once we have got India is a secular democratic country, I'm talking of now, there is no occasion for it switching over. Yes, I can understand some small country in the world with 1 million, 2 million, 3 million population and 5 million or 10 million, and there a dictatorship comes and we can have a switch over, and then we can have a switch back to democracy, and then again we can go to presidential form of government. One day some religious sects come, he takes over. I can understand all this, but not with a country like 1.3 billion people. So what my take is, undoubtedly democracy is absolute because democracy gives you power to express. And please mind you, I just heard somebody listening. Now listen, we also lose power to protest. Now tell me, where should a person who has exercised his franchise, who has exercised his vote, go? He should become mute spectator. So there are only two ways to express himself. And I must point out those two ways are non-violent ways. One is a non-violent protest. Because the minute it becomes violent, it doesn't remain a protest. And second is undoubtedly, I can't help my saying it, but I am myself a member of the judicial system, being a member of the bar. Second is to approach the court. The courts are sitting. Bodies are there. If some action has been taken by a legislature, which you think is in excess of constitution, which is bad, or which is not in accordance with constitution, please challenge it. Courts are sitting there to help it. So right to protest is one, which is a fundamental right if done peacefully. And listen, 1 minute. If you say we don't have a right to protest, fine. If the courts interfere, I'm not talking Indian system, where the courts interfere, then says you cannot protest at a particular site. They say because of certain reasons, but they don't say you don't have a right to protest. Which court in India has said you don't have a right to protest? So right to protest is there. Right to approach the courts is there. Courts also have got a democratic setup. Within judicial system also, we have a democratic setup. So every system has got its democratic setup. Democracy is not in the parliament, but even at the grassroots level, even at the government level, even industry organization, even within our forces, the organization, we have got a system which is called democratic system. If we have got a presidential form of government, then every system will be guided by one man. Then there is no democracy, because you cannot say, I am Mr. A, I am the king here, I am the head of religious sect here, I am running this country, but within the military, within the navy, within the army, within the school, within the parliament, there is democracy. It's not possible. So my only take is, I have nothing else to add. I think we have, as far as India is concerned, it's a beautiful system. We have got a right to protest. We have got three pillars: legislature, judiciary, and of course the parliament. And then we have got well, too much of democracy. Undoubtedly, as I said, if you don't act responsibly, you excess your power, exceed your powers, or you don't use your powers. Undoubtedly, it's called too much of democracy, because there the system has to interfere. And thank you so much. My views are that's the only in your country is it possible. In your country means my country as well. In India, it's possible, or any democratic setup where you can have this topic, too much of democracy. Thank you, Mr. Goyal. Thank you, participants.
Thank you very much, Advocate Dhingra. And Advocate Dhingra has raised a pertinent question, or I will say that he says that, Mr. Goyal, you are doing this show because India is a democratic country. You can't do it in any other country, which is a presidential or dictatorship or other.
No, you can. Sorry, you can do it too much of.
Too much of.
You can have a presidential form of government.
Yes, for this topic.
Too much of democracy.
Yes, and Advocate Dhingra, because what I said in the very beginning is, yes, this show, because of the topic, we approached many people and they declined politely. They says it is a bit controversial topic. We are not saying that it's not allowed in our country. Everyone is having a freedom of speech, but still people have some reservation. Now, what Advocate Dhingra says, he says, too much democracy is when you are going to infringe. You have a right. You are free to speak. You have to whatsoever the freedom has been given by the Constitution. But they should not be misused by either not using your rights or using excessively. He said for the both, whether it's the legislature, whether the government who are having been elected by the people, if they are misusing, that is a too much democracy. If they are misusing, and similarly the people, if they are misusing, they did. And he says that the right of protest is there. It's a democratic country. You have two rights. Either you protest non-violently or you approach to the court. That is the real meaning of democracy. And he says in India, sorry. And
in 5 years, you don't have a system where you can change. There's nothing called, you cannot change. Once you've elected a particular government for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, there's no system which says, all right, change. So I'm so sorry to interfere.
So he says that India, there is no such type of system. And he says that to say that India can become a dictatorship, one-man dictatorship, or some military coup, it is not possible. We are 1.3 billion. But one point which he has raised, and this is a very, very important point, he says that democracy is lose its means when there is a whip. He says when there is 300 MPs or MLAs, if they are governed by one particular party, yes, they are being elected on the party, but they have a different views. It's not that everyone has the same view. And if the whip is issued, that whip shows that it's not a proper democracy. But this is as per the amendment in the Constitution or passed by the legislature. So the whips are allowed in India. So he is against, his views are that whip is, once you issue the whip, then the real sense of the democracy goes. Thank you very much, Advocate Deepak Dhingra, for giving your views. And now I would like to invite, I will ask my question to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, you mentioned about the majority dictatorship. And you said that in the case of Keshwanand Bharti in 1973, Nani Palkiwala used these words in front of the Constitution bench of 13 judges. Now tell me, the democracy means that the majority rules. Even if a majority of 51%, whosoever is holding. So where is the question of majority dictatorship? As the Advocate Dhingra said, once you have elected somebody, you have no right to recall back them unless some, as I mentioned, that somebody dies or some elections takes place with some emergency, something happened. Otherwise, once you have elected for 5 years, they are for 5 years, and they have a majority. And once they have a majority, they have full right to do all the reforms, changes, amendments as allowed by the Constitution of India democratically through the parliament. Now, what problem you have to, and why Nani Palkiwala used these words, that majority dictatorship, one man dictatorship? Yes, it is very common. We have seen North Korea is an example. But to say majority dictatorship, it means tomorrow, if like Advocate Bhargav has mentioned, if any bill is passed, it might be very good bill, but it is not good for few people. Though it means they cannot implement that bill. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, please.
Yeah, Mr. Goyal, this is correct that once if some party has come to power, they have been elected, they have got the majority. It means that public at large had put a responsibility on that party to rule our nation in accordance with our constitution. Our constitution also says that government cannot adopt the arbitrary things, or it cannot do any act without reasonableness. This reasonability and non-arbitrariness is also a essential part of our government, and it's a part of fundamental right also. So if the government, even if the majority government, if the reasonability in the action of the government is lacking, and if the arbitrariness is there in the action of the government, it leads towards the dictatorship. Definitely, it is a decision of the majority government, but as Palkhiwala has said, because of it is arbitrary, because of it is unreasonable, it becomes like dictatorship. So that Palkhiwala wanted to check that no one government in future can adopt such a way, and there should be some constitutional guarantee from the 13 judge bench, which was not suited at that time, but later on it came to. Then I would like to say a few words more. In democratic pattern, in space for dissenting voice is must. Until and unless there is a space for dissenting voice, we cannot say ourselves to be democratic. Nowadays, the space of dissenting voice is lacking. Long back, Kabir Das has written a doha, I am quoting it. Nindak niyare rakhiye aangan kuti chhawai, bin pani sabun bina nirmal karat suhai. The person who are criticizing you, such persons should be kept nearer to you so that you may amend yourself. But this is not being followed at all. One of the late Prime Minister our Atal Bihari Vajpayee also said, I quote, जहां विरोध एवं विरोधियों को गद्दार मानने का भाव हो, वहां लोकतंत्र समाप्त होता है और तानाशाही का उदय होता है. This is what late Atal Bihari Vajpayee has said. And the same thing is happening today. I am sorry to say कि विरोधियों को गद्दार मानने का भाव शुरू हो चुका है. And that's why I say that our present government is heading towards dictatorship, and this thing was long back said by Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee himself, who is a mentor of the present government. They are not following that.
Okay. Thank you, Advocate Sharma, for giving your views. Now I would like to go to Advocate Sunil Bhargav. Advocate Sunil Bhargav, you said that the once majority has been given or elected a parliament or assembly, they have full right to do whatsoever they want. And if opposition has to do something, they can oppose in the parliament or assembly. Although I think one of the panelists has raised this thing when the opposition is so weak. One thing. Secondly, as per the data is available, about 38% people have elected a government, this government. Let's talk like this. So it means 62% people have not given their vote for this present government, or they are against the ideology, or they are whatsoever that they are not agreeing for this government. Now the question is, in democracy, majority rules. You are rightly said, but the majority is not with any government less than 50%. So do you think that the election system in a democratic country should be such that more than 50%, if the votes comes for any particular party, then only that party should be elected, and say that they can rule. Otherwise, if it is a 38% for a party, somebody's got say 20%, somebody got 10%, the government should be formed pro rata with representation of all the parties in that government, to so then we can say the majority is ruling the government, not any party which is less than 50% is ruling. What you say about this, Advocate Sunil Bhargava? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. Advocate Bhargava, please unmute. Please unmute.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Go
First of all, I have to make a correction here. I never stated that what is decided in the parliament and whatever reforms or act are coming up, it should be taken as it is by the majority. I said it is to be taken as it has come by the majority, but we have other options. We can go to the court. We can put up again. That is what I meant when I made my statement earlier. Like, we came earlier and a few people also quoted about Nani Palkhiwala statement. Now, that is whatever had come in that part in the parliament. It was protested. It was against taken to the court. And that is where these things came in. Now we have two options. First one was that we protest. Yes, protest is always there. And protest is the right way of putting up also. But by protest, what I meant was making other people into trouble. That is not protest. Protest is what comes to the clause which has come against you. Like there are certain clauses which has been argued that there were certain clauses in the bill which had come in Kisan bill, and they say, yes, they had come wrong. So this is what we want, that they should be knowing. Let it be presented again. Let that fact come again. Let it be presented in court as it has come to the apex court now. But let court decide what is correct and what is not. If majority decides, I meant that way, and that is part of democracy. We cannot change that. We cannot change if it is 30% or it is 28 or it is 40. You know, majority basically means what majority we have chosen. If they have chosen some reforms and they have chosen to do some acts which they think are reforming, then if we feel and we are aggrieved by those reforms and we come forward by protest or to the court, I meant is no violent protests. It should be in a way that what we say, that act is wrong, that amendment is wrong, and it should have been placed like this. This is one. And second way is to go to the court and decide what is correct and what is not. That was one, like as Nani Palkhiwala had come forward. Now, what has come, as you stated, that majority may do wrong. If majority is doing wrong, then we have court to come forward. If they have made somebody aggrieved of their argument, if they have made some person aggrieved and basically suffering by that act, then we can always come. We can come to the court, make a plea against them and get it removed. Why can't we stop it like it is coming right? So I never meant that it is whatever comes through the parliament is all correct. No, I never stated that. I said, if we have some grievances, we should, instead of violent protest, we should start and make up a view that is legal, that is more probable. Let us find out a way, like by protesting in a way that that act which has come is wrong. So if that is the way we wanted to bring forward the facts. Now, what I think I'm quite clear about it, it is because I already said it.
Yes, you are right. Okay. Thank you, Advocate Bhargava. Now I will go to Advocate Sharma. Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, you mentioned about the protest and everybody says the non-violent protest. Now my question to you is, if it is like this, then tomorrow if any bill is passed by the parliament and if few people are not agreeing or aggrieved by that bill or act, do you think this type of protest will decide what is to be done in parliament? Don't you think it will lead to mobocracy? That tomorrow the mob will decide, ki, no, this act is wrong, please take it back, we don't want. So then what is the use of parliament? Then we should go for the, for once we want to do something, we must go for a referendum, or we ask everybody, are you happy? Are you not happy? And even if we will do that, and if again 10%, 5% or 1% population say, no, we are not happy, we will not bring, then the no amendment or no reforms can take place. Then what is the harm of Mr. Amitabh Kant's statement that too much democracy? If it is like this, then what he said is right, that it is too much democracy. That's why people are on the road and they want to decide the laws, everything on the road, not in the parliament. What you say about this, Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, please?
No, there is no question of mobocracy here. The question is, when we are going in protest, when something has been passed in parliament, if that bill or an act which has been made, subsequently the bill has been made into an act, it shows the inclination of a political party, yes, then the right to protest is always available, and rightly so, as what is happening in the current farmers bill. There is a protest going on, and rightly so, it should be a peaceful project, because the real question in democracy is not how much democracy needs. India needs change, and only greater democracy can happen. Make this happen. It is for the people, by the people, and for the and for the people. So where is the question? So protest is the form of, that is what I said, if the opposition is weak, as the current situation is, if the opposition is weak, the power gets absolutely, the absolute power gets the power gets absolutely corrupt. So the question is here, the majority of people, if majority is in the form of a government where opposition has no say, then what happens is, as rightly said, if there is a whip, and if whip portrays one political party's ideology, so then the reform is not there. It is basically the political view which is forming that bill or the act which is taking place. There, in that cases, the peaceful way of demonstration like protest comes in power. And if the government does not behave rightly, so we have our constitution, we have our process of judicial process where we can go to the courts and approach the Supreme Court and get the issue rectified from there, as what has happened in Pharma, where we have gone to the farmers have gone to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court itself said yes, they have a right to protest. But absolutely right, I agree, the protest should be peaceful, it should not be violent. That's why I quoted Nelson Mandela, that's why I quoted Mahatma Gandhi. A powerful country like UK was dominating India, and still a man with his non-violent ways got us freedom. Same is apartheid. Nelson Mandela fought in prison jail and he got rid of the apartheid. So this is a beautiful example. This is how democracy is. This is what this is too much of. See, now these political parties, whether it is any form of government, they take it when too much democracy gets them in power. But when they come to power, this too much democracy, then they don't like it. How can that be? You, on one hand, you want that power from too much democracy, but when you come in power, you do not like this too much democracy. I don't think that is right. I don't think that is right.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Arvind Kumar Sharma, for giving your reply. Now, my question goes to Advocate Deepak Dhingra. Advocate Deepak Dhingra, you used the word whip. Now, as far as I remember, this whip concept is basically to stop the Ayaram Gayaram concept, which was very prevailing at one time in India. And rightly, because if you see, anyone who has been elected on a particular party's ticket, and tomorrow, if the particular party, on the ideology of a particular party, and if the particular party wants to come out with a particular reform or pass to want in the form of a bill, and that MP just violate the whip, or there is no whip, and then he is free to, or she is free to give the vote either for or against. Now, don't you think it will be a very chaotic condition for the country? And then to say that too much democracy will be there, rightly, because if there is no whip, then the MPs will be free, and you know how the word called horse trading will start. For every bill, if any bill will come, somebody will say, I will pay you so much money. You do it against the government or for the government. Do you think it will be good for the democracy? Advocate Deepak Dhingra, please.
Okay, thank you so much for asking this question. Let Mr. Goyal firstly point out what is the system of democracy, and I had the pleasure to hear to everybody regarding protest and non-violent protest and all that kind of thing. And then once they have appointed a legislature, once they have appointed their representative in the parliament, you see, please appreciate the power of people is always stronger than people in power. Now I repeat myself, please appreciate the fact that power of people is always stronger than people in power. Once you have put the people in power, then these, I'm talking now Indian system or as such democracy is concerned, you lose a common citizen loses the power. Then he has to follow what is basically told to him. The price rise, let's take in any country. The other bills, other legislations are basically he has to follow them, whether he likes them or he does not like them. I'll come back to your question of whip. Now, so there's nothing called whip in a constitution. Whip is a word which is used internally between a political setup within the political system. There's nothing called whip. Whip is that we 6 members join together, let's say, to go to a particular legislation, and I hold a power, let's say financial power or some other power, whereby I guide you. But we have to stay together. We don't disintegrate. You don't do it because we have got certain common ideology. We have got some common platform to work on. We have got a common goal. But it is not that you may differ as to how we are achieving that. You may have a better suggestion to achieve that. But in the process to achieve that goal, one of you or one of us is sidelined. He may be the best, he may be a better, but there the leadership comes and says, sorry, what I am a leader, so I dictate. Sorry, otherwise I'll use the whip. Now I ask myself a question here. Even if you have to use a whip, Parliament gives you a platform to express your views. And there a legislature has got a right to express. He may vote differently. There the question comes. Now there's a very, very strong, please mind you, I understand what you are trying to say, that he'll be ousted from the party. Ayaram, Gyaram was there because he'll be ousted. But that way, within a democratic system, now in that event, before tabling a bill, every political party or party in power should call all the MPs, should call all the legislature and say, listen, we will introduce it only provided the majority of you agree to it. Now, if you follow this system, undoubtedly, then you say, listen, we have got a prime minister, we have got a head of political system who is working at the system, so we can't really have that disintegration. But then follow that, why not? Today, 4 people or 5 people or 6 people, 10 people in a government want to basically introduce a particular law or legislature. Then do you really have some system of inviting the other 300, having their views as to how the things will work out in their respective constituencies, whether it will be beneficial for the people who have elected you or not, and then follow it? You don't have that system. What you say is, we introduce, so all 300 foreign people now have to follow it. So there the system comes of whip. Whip is nothing, but whip is only that I tell you and you tell me to follow you. That's it. There's nothing called whip which say, and whip, please mind you, whip is not who used it. It was used for what it was used. So for that reason, whip basically is a ideological, is a imaginary sort of instrument where it is used for a platform where all legislatures are there on a particular platform for a common goal. But how to achieve it, whether to achieve it or not at that particular point, and other integrities are there. So for that reason, I think I have answered your question, sir.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Dhingra. Although the things which are happening and everybody knows, even in the case of demonetization, which was done at 8 p.m. and it was told that even the except one or two key persons, even at that time finance minister was not knowing. The question of MPs to take in confidence was not there, because if the finance minister of the country is not knowing what is going to happen with the economy, it is not practical in the country like us, what we are watching. So that might be a reason. So thank you very much. So today you have seen a very, very vibrant and very informative discussion on the too much democracy. Everybody, all our panelists agrees that the democracy is the base and it is required. And they says there is no word called too much in the constitution. It was used in a different context. They are very clear that we have to be proud of our own democracy, because the democracy or the constitution has given us many powers. We can use them, but not misuse them. And they have also come out about the point of the demonstration or the protest which is happening. And they have given the views that there are two ways: either go for a non-violent protest or approach the courts and go get the legal remedy for that. Thank you very much, all of you. And today's program, which has been live telecast by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day very hot and current topic. But tomorrow is Sunday, and Sunday is for edutainment, that is educational as well as entertainment. And tomorrow my guest is Sir, for the program called Swar Sangam, and my guest who is going to sing the famous songs are Mr. Karthik Krishna Jairam. He's a passionate singer. He's joining from California, USA, to entertain you. And definitely once you are going to entertain, and some educational thing about those songs, about the artist, about the films will be mentioned in that. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak Dhingra. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Thank you very much. Advocate Sunil Bhargav. And thank you very much, Advocate Arvind Sharma, for joining and giving your very learned views. I am sure our viewers will have got a very clear idea about the too much democracy.
Impact of too much democracy, we are all together.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.